Hi, welcome back to my channel. I am Divine Empress, your Fulani sister. The message that I have for us right now is that greed is the fall of men. I'll start off by there's this teen book that I read a while ago, and in the story was basically this girl. She was born with magical abilities that she wasn't aware of, and she had these spiritual abilities like witchcraft because of her mother. And her mother knew all along. When she was growing up, her mom put her to sing like her. Her mom would take her on the stage with her. She lived with her dad, but her mother, she would spend time with her mom, and her mom would put her on the platform, show her all these people that are as important people in societies that are part of her circle. So she grew up with that, just to later find out that her mom was doing all of that to eventually sacrifice her. She was, she didn't know the story that her mom was this witch that was heartbroken long time ago and decided to put a curse in a whole group of people and bound them to some sort of space that they were bound there unless the mom died or somehow she reverted what she did. So they were stuck there. So what these people ended up doing, the people that were stuck, bound by this curse, they found someone, they were able to communicate with the people in the land. Let's just say for the purpose of this video, the humans or whatever. So they were able to contact them to get them to bring them the things they need or try to find somebody, I guess their way, trying to find somebody to break that curse. And then they ended up finding a man who ended up reaching this girl and taking the girl. And what happened was this man, he knew the way there. And when they were going, they met with this creature. And that creature, like, basically almost unalived them, but they made it through safely. When the man was coming back, at some point later in the story, when the girl finally makes it back home from that space that she was basically kidnapped and taken to be the savior for those people, she found the remains of that man who had basically kidnapped her and sold her for gold. And the way she found him was that he had gold and stuff with him. It was his remains and gold. So basically, the greed for gold and richness and wealth, he sacrificed his life for that, because taking that journey, he knew the dangers. He knew the dangers of what it would cost him. And by the way she described the scene was described, it made it seem like he probably passed on while protecting the gold that he was carrying. This wasn't something that was worth his life. It wasn't worth his life. And the mother's greed and jealousy towards her daughter, because with spiritual abilities, like, the next generation can become stronger than the one before. And she knew that. So she kept gaslighting her daughter and lying to her and keeping things hidden from her until she would reach a certain age that she would sacrifice her, like she basically did her daughters in the past. But of course, this one was different. She was the chosen one to break that cycle, break that curse. It didn't happen. But it's the fact that she was willing to do that to her daughter because of greed, of being in power, staying in power. And for those who didn't know her, she was the type of person that you would think was a good person on the outside. Her ex-husband that was close to her knew. And those people that she worked for, she entertained with her singing and stuff, some of them knew what was part of her plan, but she had some sort of power or advantage over them. So imagine a mother doing that to a child. I want to also tie this with, I watched the movie Atlantis, right? And so in the movie of Atlantis, there was these people that were trying to find Atlantis, right? So when they reached when they finally reached Atlantis, there was this man who, the main character, the man, he always felt like he had this calling and this interest in Atlantis. But his was genuine, and it was also coming from the exposures and the things that he learned from his grandpa. So this rich man to decided to recruit him to join him to go after this search for Atlantis, right? A lot of people had rejected his idea, didn't want to listen to him, to the point they were running away from him when they saw him because they didn't want to hear any more about Atlantis. So eventually, this rich man gets him going with the crew and everything. The thing about it is that every crew member had a story. They had a why for why they were there, and they had their own interest. They were being paid, and they had stories and reasons for wanting to risk their lives, basically, to go on this difficult journey in order to make that money or whatever title, whatever they were going for. But the thing about it, the whole time, they were lying to him. The main character, he was the one that was genuinely just there because it was something that he felt called to do. He had a passion for. And then at the end of the day, when he did everything and led them to Atlantis, then they revealed the fact that they were there to actually betray the people, and they were there just to steal from them. When they got to Atlantis, the king's daughter received them with love, and she saw hope in them. Of course, her father saw the other side, that it is possible that they could not be good people and they could not be trusted. They had to go. But because of the daughter's insistence and these manipulative people had to come, the king decided to let them stay one day. And that one day, that one night, was enough for these people to penetrate the space and take over and do the evil deeds that they wanted to do. And that also taught the main character how like, basically he was used. But this also talks about greed. This also relates to greed, because even the reason why Atlantis, in the movie, at least from what I get, the reason why Atlantis fell, it was because of greed as well. Because of something that had happened in the past. The king wanted something, he went beyond what he should have, and that basically caused the downfall of an entire empire. And he was also afraid for his daughter, because those people coming felt like history was repeating itself again, and that's why he didn't want his daughter trusting them, because it was greed that caused them to fall. And she also had this ability, this gift, this calling, like her mother. Her mother had to be the sacrifice to save Atlantis, and she also had that calling. And if anything happened again to Atlantis, she would be called, and he would be left without the both ladies that he cared about the most. The thing is, she had a pure heart. She saw good intention. She saw hope in these people. She wasn't wrong, but the father wasn't wrong either. These people did show the fears that the father had, that they were not all of them had a pure heart and had good intention. But yes, someone was brought to them that was also meant to be part of what liberated them from those years of them living like that, being trapped without being free because of what had happened in the past. The other thing that I got from Atlantis is that sometimes you have to be the one to turn on your own to rewrite the wrongs of history. Like the crew of Atlantis, eventually, they learned and realized that what they were doing was wrong. Regardless of the benefits and the promise that they were promised, they were trying to do something to people who were innocent that didn't deserve it. So they had to turn on their own people that they came with. They have to reflect and look within themselves and make the right choices, regardless of what they had originally thought. And the two people that were insisting on being bad, like the blonde and the bad man, they actually ended up turning against each other. the main villain man, he ended up turning on the blonde who was the most loyal to him. So at the end of the day, it's like, do the right thing no matter what. If you have something in your life that you value so much that you know that is not leading you to the right things, to the right choices, to the things that resonate with your soul. You feel guilty when you talk to this person, when you do this thing. You know that doing this particular thing, engaging in this particular thing, talking to this particular person, or doing this particular action does not make you feel good as a person. Don't do it. Even if it has this illusion of promising you the world, even if it's a contract that promises you billions of dollars, don't do it. If it costs your peace, if it costs your soul, if it costs you your righteousness, if it takes away the purity of your heart, don't do it. It's not worth it. It doesn't matter where you are in that stage, in that moment right now, you can still change your mind. Do not let greed be your downfall. Because anything you can accumulate in this life, you can lose. And when you lose it, and you lose your integrity and your soul in the process, what else you have left? What else you have to stand on? If you compromise your value, your beliefs, your principles for these worldly things that are temporary, it doesn't matter how much richness you have, how much you build, you cannot take any of that to your grave. You will leave all of that behind. And in this world, we experience abundance, we experience loss, we experience all sorts of things. No matter how big it is, that thing cannot guarantee your safety. You cannot guarantee that that thing will stay with you forever. It's something that you can lose. And when you lose everything else in your life because of that thing that you know isn't right, what else you have left? At least if you have your soul, you have your integrity, you have your values, you have your morals, your principles to stand on, then you will have something to fall back on. You will have that solid ground, that foundation to stand back on, and you keep building on it. Because you are a work in progress, you're meant to learn. Just like those crew members, they went through that character development to learn from their mistakes and realize that they were wrong, to want to take from those who were not harming them. They had excuses and hardships that they thought that they could use as an excuse. But nothing justifies doing wrong, especially when it's towards other people. And that's the planet included. We can definitely do better. And I keep saying, like, what you put out comes back to you. Try your best to do what you know is best. And just like in this movie as well, how the main villain even turned against the people that were the most loyal to him. Because at the end of the day, what mattered to him was getting what he wanted at all costs. You might be loyal to that thing, to that person, to that group, to that organization, to that whatever is for you right now. But whatever feeling of loyalty that you have is not reciprocated. And it could be that you're being used actually for them to be able to achieve their goals while they don't value you. That organization doesn't value you, doesn't see your worth. But you keep being there and taking everything from them, putting up with everything from them, hoping that they will eventually give you what they will honor the false promises that they've given you. They've been lying to your face. They've been using you, manipulating you. And you keep holding on to false hopes and being like, maybe, just maybe, just maybe. Do yourself a favor and leave what doesn't serve you. Once they're done using you, I am sorry. But once they're done using you, you don't serve them anymore. That's when you're going to see their true colors. Don't wait until it gets to that point for you to learn the hard truth, how to value yourself. When you're hearing messages like this right now, giving you a heads up, warning you to leave those situations. Leave while you still have your integrity. Leave that relationship, that situation, while you still have your integrity, while you still have your values, while you still have your soul. It's not worth it. The other thing that happened in Atlantis is that when those people honored their truth and decided to go for the path of truth, they actually was rewarded. As they helped the Atlanteans, they got rewarded back. And they got to build good connection with Atlantis. Now they had a source of wealth that was abundant. And it all came from a good place. Did they know from the beginning of the journey that this is how things were going to turn out? No, they didn't. There were people who were on the dark side. But when they saw a chance to correct their wrongs, they did that. And those who didn't want to change, they fell. They went on a journey to never return because their greed caused them to fall to the point that they couldn't get back up. There's going to be justice served for those who are wrong. When they try to wrong other people, divine justice stepped in, and they were dealt with. Don't be afraid of losing things. Don't fall for the illusion that whatever you can get, others can provide for you. What you can get in this material, physical world is everything. Life is beyond this space. It's spiritual, physical, it's way beyond even that. Our actions are monitored all the time. That doesn't mean a bad thing. It means like to scare you or anything like that. It's just to say that, try your best to do what you know is best for you and best for others. Nothing is worth sacrificing your morals, your values, and your soul for. You can do better. You can do way better. And you know that as you're watching this, maybe something's being triggered in you. Maybe there's a particular situation or person, or it can even be something work-related right now that you have gotten warnings about, but you're insisting on holding on and attaching yourself to that. And you know inside of you that is wrong. Maybe you identify as a child of God. Maybe you identify as a chosen. Maybe you identify as someone of light. Something in you knows better. It knows better than wherever you are now. Good will always be rewarded. It's always worth doing the right thing, even if it doesn't seem like it in this physical. Because it seems like there's some in this world that don't want lights to shine. Don't want others to shine their light. And they try to make those who try to do good. They try to make good look bad and promote bad as good. But there are some of us who are awakened, and you are one of them, that you know better. And you see the agendas and the plans behind what they do. You might be even in their spaces. You might be even part of the organizations. You know the things that go behind the scenes that others don't know. But you don't have to be a part of that. You're part of a company that is not being ethical. They don't do things ethically. And your mind is fighting with you. Your heart is fighting with you because that's not who you are. And you know that is not the right thing. But you still keep being there because you feel like you have to depend on them maybe. You don't. You don't. If they want to hold on to greed and allow that to consume them, eventually it will consume them. Eventually it will catch up to them. And you don't want to be a part of that when that sinks. Things tend to repeat themselves until we learn the lessons. And that's one of the things that was also happening with the Atlantis movie. That those people coming back to Atlantis, what it felt like the father, the king of Atlantis, was seeing was history basically repeating itself. What he had to do because of greed, what was being done to him now is people because of those people who came back to do just that. But this was also the chance to mend the wrongs of history. This time there was another plan. There was somebody in Atlantis, there was somebody on the other side that were both chosen to do things differently, to cause a different outcome to come out of it. And this can be the same for all of us. There's a lot of things that have been happening. And just because they've been happening, it doesn't make it right. We are here just for that. To be those people that make those changes and correct the wrongs of history. But we have to be willing to do it. We have to be willing to speak up. I'm saying this to us because I also need to learn to step in my position even more. So all of us, we need to step into our positions more. The only way we're going to end these cycles, these negative cycles, is by taking action and doing things differently than the way it was done before. We have it within us. Also in the Atlantis movie, like the father really tried his best to restrict the Atlantic people from having the ancient knowledge that was part of the history, part of their culture. And in his attempt to do that, it actually failed. Because what they needed the most was to learn about how there's some parts of history that we need to learn, we need to know for the lessons, that come from those occurrences, those things, from the lessons that it teaches, but also from the good things that were passed down. And he was restricting both. And because of that, I think that's part of what caused this situation to come back again, because they needed to remember and correct what had happened before. So it was going to come back to them in any way, shape, or form. Maybe because it was also so restricted from them. The thing about it, when the people came, the main character, men, and the main character, lady, it took an outsider to come and teach the Atlantic lady her own history. She couldn't read their books. She didn't know some things of their culture. He was the one who had the knowledge that was hidden from them. So it was like, it was like, let's say, like in this world, it would be like an outsider had to be brought in to teach them what they should have already known. And that's what happens with a lot of us. We don't know our cultures. We don't know the history of our ancestors. We don't know the spiritual knowledge that we're meant to carry. We don't know. It wasn't passed down to us. And now we don't know what to do. But it doesn't mean that it's not there. And that's why we have to be open-minded, because God might be restoring those things, or whatever you believe in. Things are being restored and put in place to how they are meant to be. And these knowledges are being brought back through us and the spiritual abilities that we carry in such a time like this. And it's going to come back also. People going to be used, and it's going to be people maybe that we don't expect. So we have to be open-minded so that we can receive what we're meant to receive and how we're meant to receive it. Because yes, there are people who should have taught us certain things, but they didn't. Or they also lacked that knowledge. Or maybe for whatever reason, they were being blocked. Because sometimes certain things are kept from people because of maybe the things that they need to heal from. For certain things, you have to be a person of a certain heart, have a certain position, have a certain type of character to be able to hear and listen, or have certain abilities. Tap in with God or whatever you believe in when you're in doubt, before you reject what might be coming to you. Because you might be guided to do something or to receive someone or something that you would never expect you would associate with or you would care for. In less than a year ago, my version of spirituality was so different. But within months, I've been pulled in things that I never thought I would even consider, that I might have even thought were demonic. I run away from. But I was being exposed to those things for a reason, and now I realize that. And as I'm surrendering and allowing myself to learn, I'm still very awkward with it, because I'm still unlearning the conditionings that I have been taught to fear those things when they were the things that I actually needed, that I need now. It's still a work in progress in my mind mentally. But as I'm open up to it, it's bringing me closer and closer to my calling. And it's allowing me to be the person I'm step by step that I'm meant to be. So maybe you watching this as well, you have certain conditionings that have been placed on you. You have taken some things that have demonized the things that are meant for you. That you're running away from what is meant for you because of what you have been taught about them. But something in you is knocking at you to give it an ear, to listen. When in doubt, ask for divine guidance. You could be somebody maybe you never thought you would do terror in your life, but that's your calling. You could be somebody who think that you could never read the Bible, maybe. You could never be a Christian. You could never be a Muslim. You could never be a Buddhist. You could never be a spiritualist. You could never be a politician. You could never be a singer. Whatever the case may be for you. But that's your calling. And maybe that's why you've been attacked in that area. You have grown up and you have been made to see those things as negative, to not want it because it is what is meant for you. Like something's been fighting you and manipulating your mind, conditioning your mind for years to see yourself, the things that are meant for you, as things that are not good for you. Like you meant to live in a certain area, be around certain people, but you had prejudice against those people for a very long time. Open your mind, open your heart. Because what you seek, it might already be around you, but you're not open enough to receive it. Ask God, ask whatever you believe in, to heal you from the conditionings that don't serve you. To remove those conditioning things that you have been programmed to believe about yourself, about who you are, and about certain things that you might have doubt in. Ask God to reprogram you so that you can live life as you truly meant to. Whatever wasn't meant for you, ask God to remove it. Whatever you have taken as truth that isn't your truth, that isn't true for you in particular, ask God to remove it. Whatever you believe in, ask it to be removed. Even if it's your higher self, if it's a universe, if it's ancestors, if it's spirit guides, whatever that may be for you, ask. But make sure to ask. Because if the Atlanteans had rejected that boy, they would have missed out on the one who was called to come and help liberate them from their long history of suffering and living in that way, in loss. You have to come in agreement with what is meant for you. And maybe that's why you lack clarity right now. You're confused because you're resisting something because of what you have believed about that thing all these years, all this while. This thing about greed also goes back. I remember watching a video on the Galactic Wars, and it was something similar, like where there was basically this species that welcomed another species to come to them, and then one of the species got greedy and wanted to take over. And as that problem started, it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it ended up being this huge galactic war. And Star Wars, I haven't watched it, but maybe that might resonate. And that goes to emphasize again how things repeat themselves when we don't learn from it. And some of us are here to correct those wrongs, but we have to be willing to learn, first of all, the history, seek the knowledge for ourselves. I think it's enough that we keep trying to rely on others to tell us our history, to write our narratives for us. Because for a very long time, we already know at this point that they're not willing to do it. That's why they keep trying to dumb us down with these false information. I've been saying fiction. Fiction is really nonfiction. What is said to be real, that's what I mean. What is said to be real is what's not real. What is said to not be real is what is real. The fairy tales, the Marvel movies, and all these movies that are sci-fi, that are quote unquote fiction, they're really like documentaries. But you gotta tap in. It's at a point now where we have to be the ones to seek the truth for ourselves. And we have to seek it spiritually and within ourselves. And I say us, I'm included. Because I have a lot of work to do in this regard as well. When you're watching these videos, my video in particular, I am delivering the messages that I also need in the moment. I am the messenger, but I'm also the receiver just like you. You're not listening to somebody who knows better than you or is like doesn't understand. No, this is also my message. We have to tap within. It's important to connect spiritually because they've always there's always been an agenda to lie to us, to keep having illusions, casting illusions on us and putting all this false stuff. And for how long are we going to keep, if someone keeps lying to you, will you believe them? Why should we keep trusting that they're going to change? We have to take our power back, own our stories. We have to seek the truth for ourselves, so rewrite it, share it. Share what we learn from our spiritual journeys, from our own histories. Whatever you feel has been taken away from you, take your power back by learning and tapping in spiritually and going within. Ask for it to be revealed to you. You don't know where you come from, stop praying to whatever you believe in. And ask for revelations about who you are, what's your lineage, what's your ancestry. Start doing research, do the work. It is your responsibility to find out about you. And it's your responsibility to pass it down to the generations that come after you. Especially if you know you have a greater calling in this life to be a leader, a voice to maybe other people who are of the same situation as you. That as you share about yourself, they also will learn about them. They attach your calling for that reason. We have to take accountability and stop expecting others to do everything for us. Especially after they have shown time and time again that they have no interest in doing that. It's much better for them if we continue to be confused and lost so that they can keep trying to tell us who we are by imposing the things that we're not on us. That's how they dim our light. They don't want us to know that we're powerful. Of course, they don't want us to know that, because then what would that be for them? Also, the thing about Atlantis is that Atlantis was very protected. And there were a lot of ships and stuff of remains of like things, something, proof that other people had tried to get to Atlantis and they didn't get there. But for some reason, this main character and this crew were able to get there. And the father had said something that his daughter was different because years ago, she would have been done with them long time ago. She wouldn't have had that patience. But it was like something in her heart just drew her to the main male character. And that's how it is with us. Some of us, like something in us, is trying to tell us something about, what we're meant to do. It's trying to draw us to those who are meant for us. There's situations that have been or are in our lives now that are not meant to, that need to end or come into endings. But we're going to have those things that are meant for us, like those people that are part of our purpose, that are our destiny helpers, like the two of them in the movie are. These things or these people might come like those of the past. Like I said, this situation was like history repeating itself. And that's why the father was hesitant a little bit. Because it was like they were getting redeemed. They were getting helped. The help was coming like the way it was caused in the first place, if that makes sense. Like, let's say you are meant to have let's say like you have a calling that has to do with women, for example. And all of your life, you've been hurt by women. But that same thing that hurt you is what's meant to, you meant to use to liberate you and get you to the higher levels, what's meant for your purpose. Because that's often how these things happen. Sometimes we experience negative things from counterfeit versions of what is meant for us. And that's the training before the real thing. So when the real thing is coming, we are hesitant because it resembles what we resembles that thing that hurt us. You are hurt by male figures, but you're meant to have a beautiful love story. But now you're resisting love because of the experiences that you have had in the past. Don't let the past keep holding you back and keeping you from enjoying your blessings. It's not easy. It's not easy to be faced with things that hurt you. This time the situation is different. It's not the same person. And this is your justice. This new person, this new situation, even if it's coming in a form that might look like what it was before, it's not the same. The main character in the movie Atlantis who came, he was not those who came before. He made it through all that security and all that danger because he was the one for the job. And it's the same way, whoever and whatever's meant to come for you is the one for you. But of course, you use discernment. And please always ask for divine guidance and protection in everything. Don't just take this word and feel like now you're just going to open yourself up to anything and everything. No. Use your discernment, please. As I was talking about Atlantis being protected, but he was still able to get there. They were still able to get there. It's like us too. Like, no matter how protective we are, like if you have blocked yourself from love because of what has happened to you, what you have experienced, in any way, shape, or form, that person that is meant for you is going to somehow be able to trigger those walls and cause them to tremble and even fall. Because whatever's meant for you will make it through those walls. Okay? Because you are meant for more. You are loved way too much for this to be the end of your story. It will not be. Your story will end in blessings and love. Unconditional love is going to end in like fairy tale like story. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be magical. It's going to be everything that you imagined and more. And you know how God does things. God always outperforms. Okay? And even if God tells you, you will still be surprised. Because that's just how God does. That's just how God does. God doesn't do anything small. And it's not going to be small for you as well. Regardless of your fears, insecurities, the walls, all those things that you have built up protecting yourself. God will work through that. Get you to that point where you're healed enough to receive all the blessings that have always were meant for you. You deserve it. You deserve a life of joy. You deserve a life of joy. You deserve a life of peace. You deserve a life of happiness. You deserve a life that is beautiful. Whatever is coming to you, even if it resembles what was, it is not the same thing. Now it's the real thing. Again, use your discernment and ask for divine guidance and confirmation if this message is for you and which parts might be for you or not. Also with Atlantis, it's like the people who came and helped him, they also brought in chaos, basically. They brought in a lot of trouble, which I would like to call here is like divine chaos. But it was a disruption that they needed in order to be able to unlock their history and the knowledge that they had lost. Because what ended up happening, everything ended up turning out for their good. God always makes everything in the end to turn out for our good. But sometimes there's going to be chaos, like divine chaos that would disrupt things in our lives to unlock the magic and the power that's within us. Because what Milo, basically the main character, the male character, did was he was prepared with the knowledge that the Atlanteans didn't have about themselves. So when he came and he was able to talk to the princess, the Atlantean princess, basically, she was able to unlock the power that was ancient to them, that was within her, and bring back the magic to their people. And that's why this also connects to what I was just saying, how the things that are meant for you, sometimes they would trigger and disrupt you. They would disrupt those restrictions and fears and walls that you have built up so that your light can shine from within, so that your true self, authentic self, can be seen and reflected, and the magic within you can come out. It's nothing to fear. Whatever God does it for our highest good always. Also, the crew members, they didn't end the journey with the people that they started with. Earlier on in the journey, some people had, because of the situations they faced, they passed on, and they had to reflect and make the choice to continue on regardless of the dangers. And this goes to show that sometimes some people were meant to leave them. Some people are not meant to move on to next levels with us. And that is okay. Because at the end of the day, wherever you end up, with whoever you end up is going to be with the right people. And it's the same thing with those things that were in people and places and situations that were put in our life to teach us the lessons, to prepare us for who and what is meant for us. They were part of a certain cycle of our journey. And now they're no longer that. Now is the moment for us to stand with only what serves our highest goods. The lessons have already been learned. Trust and believe that, and have faith that everything is always working out for your good. Everything was for your highest good, because you are a precious child of the Most High. And God wouldn't just let something happen to you in vain. This didn't just happen because God want to have fun in your life and torture you. No. It was for your own elevation, for your highest good, to teach you what you needed to learn for what God has prepared for you. Open your heart, open your mind, open your spirit to receive what God has for you. You deserved it. You've worked hard. You are graduating from the things you have experienced. If you went through all of that and all that is left is for you to rejoice and receive your rewards and your blessings, why would you deny yourself that? Please don't. I beg you not to. I want to see you happy. I want to see you smiling. And if you feel guided, share your story. Because whatever you went through, chances are someone else is going through it that needs to hear exactly those words that are part of your testimony to help them also get out of it. Like Tabitha Brown said in a video, if she got through it, then God can use it. You got through it, then God can use it too. As always, peace, love, and light. I am Divine Empress, your Fulani sister. As always, take every word that you hear, including this one, all my videos, back to the Most High, whatever you believe in. Ask for confirmation. In however way you do spirituality, ask for confirmation. Of course, things that are healthy. right? Ask for confirmation and ask for further guidance on what to get more clarity about the things that I've spoken here. Always remember you are divinely guided, divinely protected, divinely provided for. Everything is always working out for your good. Everything is for you and not against you. Take care of yourself, take care of others, and take care of the environment. Be mindful of the person that you're being in the world, because what you put out is what might come back to you. So be the light and be the person that you want to see in the world. Change starts within. It starts with every single one of us. And then it has a ripple effect on everything else.